Hey plant nerds, welcome back to my channel. Okay, so today I am doing something I have never done before, and that is a houseplant tour video. Now, I'm not going to be showing you my entire houseplant tour today. I'm focusing on a small area, which is just my bedroom. The plants that I have in my bedroom are some of my favorite plants in my collection. I have put off filming a houseplant tour video for so long, mostly because my houseplants aren't styled beautifully. That doesn't really matter. I mean, not everyone has these impeccably styled plants, and not all my plants are impeccably healthy. So yeah, without further ado, let's start the tour. Okay, so starting on my nightstand, here is my ZZ Zenzi plant. This is the only plant that I have here because it is very far away from a light source. It has been doing well. I really love this ZZ, the Zenzi version, the compact version. This one always feels like it has really dark foliage, and I know that a ZZ Zenzi Raven is not a thing, but I feel like that needs to be a thing. So the majority of my plants are currently residing in this window here, which is a north-facing window. It's a bay window, so that one kind of catches some western light, and this one over here kind of catches some eastern light. So right here is a beautiful goldfish plant, and this one came to me recently through my subscription service Horty, and I have this one kind of just sitting here acclimating so far, but it's in this really pretty handmade pot that I love, and it's just kind of chilling out. I was secluding it for a while just to make sure it was pest free, which I do with most of my plants, but then it finally was allowed to come into a spot. And next to that is my absolutely stunning, beautiful Philodendron squamiferum. And this plant I have in LECA, as you can see here, and I just have a PVC pipe in there, which is not cute, but it does the job. It is holding up the plant. You can see some of these leaves are just huge. And then they kind of started to get smaller because I didn't have it supported, but now I have it all tied up. But they have these beautiful red furry stems, and I just absolutely love this squamiferum, this philodendron. And then right behind that is my Thai sunrise philodendron. I believe these revert to be a lemon lime, and mine was about 5 feet tall, and I recently cut it. You can see right here where I decided to chop it, and it has sprouted off so many growth points along this stem. The variegation on this is very unstable from my experience. So you have a lot of these lower leaves that have this beautiful like lemon lime, but this dark green variegation. Pretty much past this point where I cut it off, there was no variegation. You might had some leaves that looked spotted like this, but there was no like visible variegation that was seen. So I'm not sure if that's the experience with other people. I still love this philodendron, and I'm excited to see what happens with all of these growth points in here. Okay, next to that is my Monstera Peru, which, guys, we're on the struggle bus with this one. This one had gotten huge and sent off a bunch of runners, and I decided to chop it off and try to propagate a bunch of leaves, which did not work. The leaves were not rooting. So this was the mother plant that I chopped up, and you can see like a lot of the leaves are kind of yellowing. This one did put out an entire vine here, and there's a new leaf opening up right there. That is the only major growth point since I decided to propagate this plant that has sprouted from this mother plant. Okay, so right next to that Monstera Peru is this beautiful Philodendron Florida Beauty. And this plant I absolutely love. It has grown so well. You can see down here it has a bunch of leaves, and it's continuing to grow. And this is the newest leaf unfurling. But this one has beautiful, beautiful foliage. These leaves are just wide and stunning, and they have this really pretty red stem that is textured here. Okay, and moving over, we have my Monstera siltepecana that I have on this huge bamboo U-shaped trellis. This one went through a little bout of spider mites and was on the struggle bus for a bit, but I think we're recuperating. I'll probably cut it back because I love that it's all over this trellis, but also the leaves aren't huge. They're kind of staying a little bit small, and I kind of just want to like cut it back and have it kind of start off a bunch of new growth and then also propagate a lot of those leaves. And then at the base of that is my Alocasia Ivory Coast. I didn't understand what the difference between the Ivory Coast and the Pink Dragon was, but from what I have heard and what people on Instagram have told me, the Ivory Coast is the dwarf version of the Pink Dragon. This one is staying pretty dwarfed. You know, you see all of this new growth down here, which is all new from this summer. The stems are bright pink and they're beautiful, but it is staying rather small. I mean, we have a big leaf here, and then this is one of the newest leaves that's actually really large. But for the most part, this plant is staying compact, and then this is another one right next to it. And this one has also put off a bunch of new growth just this summer. Okay, so moving down in front of the Alocasia Ivory Coast, we have two Monstera standeliana. This one is a variegated one that has a small bit of variegation, nothing huge, not this big chunky white variegation, but still pretty. And then right next to that is just the green form of Monstera standeliana. Behind that back here is my beautiful Anthurium radicans that has just put out this gigantic new leaf. For the most part, this plant was just this leaf back here and this leaf looking kind of rough. This was given to me by a Instagram friend slash plant friend in real life. Yeah, I've killed that. He brought this to me on the plane when he came to visit Phoenix, and honestly I was scared of it. It was my first Anthurium, but here we are, probably 4 or 5 months after he gave it to me, and this is the first new leaf that I've gotten from it. It's a stunner. So I'm thinking we're finding our stride together, and maybe we'll be happy. And then another Anthurium that is right in front of that one is my Anthurium crystallinum, which again put off this new leaf, which is absolutely stunning. This was this was the original leaf that I haven't cut off just because there's still some green that it needs to suck out of that one. It's actually got a new leaf coming, so that's very exciting. The roots on this little babe are always so cool. Just growing down into the cash po. I think it's happier. We'll see. Right behind my Anthurium crystallinum is this beautiful Peperomia incana. This is the felted Peperomia. I don't think you'll be able to see it, but this thing, trust me, is fuzzy like velvet, like a teddy bear. But it also is a huge attractor of cat fur, cat hair. I'm constantly having to use a lint brush on this plant just to try to get it clean. And I actually am going to be giving this to a friend because it was one of her wish list plants. And while I do absolutely love this Peperomia, I think someone could love it more than me. Next to the Peperomia incana is this beautiful Sansevieria Bantel Sensation. And I've shown this one before, but I absolutely love this Sansevieria. Its coloring is just so striking. So that is just a small little Sansevieria, but I kind of have it here to help prop up the incana so it doesn't droop too far. And in front of that Sansevieria is this beautiful Philodendron Atabapoense. This was a mother plant that was given to me by my friend Becca. It was doing okay, but I did cut it off. You can see I cut the end off there. It did sprout another new growth point. This is the newest leaf from that growth point, but for the most part, this stem's kind of just icky. So once that gets bigger, I'll probably cut that off and put it in another pot because the root system on this mother plant was one aerial root / one node, and it's a lot of roots, but it's only one. So that's why I cut it and I started propagating it, because I didn't want anything to happen to it. But this philodendron is such a beautiful plant. It has these really dark purple burgundy backsides to the leaves and this beautiful leaf shape that continues to just develop. I absolutely love that one. Okay, and behind that over here is another philodendron that I have in Leca. This is a red Congo that I was given at a plant, well, from a secret planta plant swap. So this one has grown so incredibly well, and the roots are just insane inside this cash po. You can kind of see them clinging all around there. But this one's growing really well. I love the leaf shape of this philodendron, like that heart-shaped, beautiful. And in front of that is quickly becoming one of my favorite philodendrons. I actually might just have to lift this up. This is a philodendron billietier. Oh, it's so hard to hold. Okay, I'm gonna put it back down. This philodendron has grown so incredibly well for me. You can see this was the leaf that it had from shipping, and it actually hasn't fallen off yet. But it's put off all of these leaves, and they are big, beautiful, Stunning leaves. This is the newest one that is still just developing. Oh, this plant is such a stunner. Let's check the roots. The Billietier has such fuzzy roots. Every time I've looked at this plant, they're just like furry, beautiful roots, but this one definitely probably needs a repot because all of that is growing out. I feel like this newest leaf just opened like a couple weeks ago, and then this one is just opening now, and I just can't get over it. Okay, and back here is my Hoya SP Sabah. I absolutely love the foliage in this plant, and when I first unboxed this, it was just these 2 leaves, and it shot off this huge vine. It was growing so quickly once I put it in hydro, but it's only given me 1 new leaf. A lot of the other ones have blasted, and it really hasn't done much in probably the last 6 months. So clearly I haven't sorted out what this Hoya loves. I move it maybe every couple months if no action has happened to figure out kind of what it likes, what humidity it likes, but still a favorite. And then right in front of that is my beautiful Monstera Albo Variegata leaf and node that was sent to me by Rachel. This plant has really not done much since I got it, except for expand its root growth, which honestly has been insane. Like the roots that this thing has grown has been nuts. But you can see down here, the growth point is finally starting to show some action. So I'm really excited. And inside this plant is a cute little sign that my friend Chrissy gave me that just says, fussy little beep. I put that in there because this plant was not doing anything for the longest time. When I shame them publicly, they just start to explode. And it seems like as soon as I put that sign in there, this one started showing some action. The last spot in this side of my bedroom to go through is this little IKEA shelf right here, and we will start at the top. So up here I have my Hoya Compacta Variegata, and it has been in this window for a few weeks. I just recently moved it in here just because this gets some really bright light in evening time, and I just didn't think it was getting enough light where it was, so it's now going to reside in here, and it seems happy. And right next to my Hoya Compacta Variegata is this Hoya Rebecca, and this plant usually has more of a red tint when it is sun stressed. I have recently moved this one in here too just because the lighting is so much better in here, but this one has bloomed quite a bit for me. You can see here there's a peduncle there that has blooms starting again, but this Hoya Rebecca is actually a really easy one to grow. That one is in LECA as well. It's put off a lot of new growth. It's not that bright red color that you've seen from some Hoya Rebecca's, and I'm not sure why. It's probably because it's not sun stressed enough, but then again, I don't need it to be sun stressed because it's still beautiful. On this top shelf right behind Miss Rebecca is my beautiful variegated string of hearts that I recently also moved in here. All 3 of these plants have moved in here because I felt like they weren't getting the right light. And I think I'm correct in that because these leaves were nice and pink at the top from where it was in bright light when I first got the plant, and then they kind of faded. But now that it's been here, look at how bright pink that leaf is. It is blushing beautifully, so they're quite long. So you can see it starts up there and it travels down almost to the floor. And this one is actually blooming too, and I've had blooms on string of hearts before, but I think this is the first time I've seen blooms on my variegated string of hearts. So that's definitely confirmation that it likes its new spot. Okay, so starting off on this next shelf right here is this beautiful Hoya Croniana Eskimo. I absolutely love this Hoya. It bloomed for me a couple times. The blooms are adorable, fuzzy, white little blooms, and I think that's actually, someone told me that's where the name comes from. I thought it was called an Eskimo at first because it was splashy, but that is not the case. This one is not very splashy. It doesn't have a lot of gray, but it is growing beautifully in LECA. You can see there's like a new growth point right there. This thing is just popping off. And behind the Croniana Eskimo is the Hoya Retusa, which has also been a prolific bloomer for me. There's no blooms on it right now, but in the fall, this thing was covered in blooms, and they're just single blooms. Like each peduncle is just one flower and it's huge. But this Hoya retusa has grown so well for me, and I have it just draping on both sides of this shelf, and it seems super happy here. And then right here you have the Ludicea discolor, which is a jewel orchid. This one is probably one of the easiest jewel orchids. It's not one that requires a ton of humidity. As you can see there, it usually just stays about 40% in my bedroom. The ensuite bathroom to this bedroom is wide open. There's no door. So when I shower in the morning, it kind of pumps up the humidity in here. That's why I have a lot of my humidity lovers in this room / around the shower. But this one is not, like, it doesn't require a ton of humidity, and it has grown so well. I only had this first spike over here, and it's put off both of these new offshoots. But it really is an easy jewel orchid. So if you're looking for a jewel orchid and you've been nervous to get one, go for one of these Ludicea discolors. Okay, and right behind this Ludicea discolor jewel orchid is this beautiful Dischidia nummularia, which is also referred to as the dragon jade or the bubble rope, nerd rope. I'm not treating this plant well. I mean, I'm not treating it well. I just don't think I have the right conditions for it. I think it really needs a lot of humidity. It has grown. Like, this whole tip here is new growth. That seems semi-happy. It's losing a lot of leaves down at the base of the stems. So, I don't know. We're still trying to figure it out. It's cool. It's a weird, cool plant. I just want it to be happy with me. And then right next to that is where I keep my variegated heart-shaped philodendron, which this beauty I got from Peace, Love, and Happiness Club. A little too pricey. I probably shouldn't have paid what I paid for it, but I do absolutely love this plant. I love the variegation on it, and it continues to just put out beautifully variegated leaves, so that's happy. And these heart leaf philodendrons are actually really easy to grow and really forgiving. I'm not too mad about spending that much money on it because I definitely can propagate this plant and gift it and share it because it's a beauty. The next shelf down, the big plant you see right here, is a piece or pieces of my ZZ Raven that are living in this pot in this window. Behind the ZZ Raven back there, you can kind of see is a philodendron melicronychum that I am struggling with. I know that it doesn't have the right humidity that it desires. The new leaves keep getting stuck and then breaking themselves, which again tells me it needs more humidity. These two leaves have been like holding on for a while and they're still beautiful. So I'm just kind of letting it go. I mean, in the winter I get more humidity here. It's a struggle to keep up with filling humidifiers because of how dry it is in the desert. So I've been trying to stay away from the humidity loving plants and just get the ones that I know I can care for. But I do have a few humidity lovers like that melicronychum that I'm still trying to just keep happy, keep content while we're in the middle of the driest part of the year. And then in front here is my beautiful Hoya australis albomarginata. This is a beautiful version of the Hoya australis. Some of these leaves are a little bit kind of fuzzy in the back, but they are variegated on the outer edges. Some of these newer leaves are this solid pale green. This is not a quick growing plant at all. I mean, in fact, this is a very, very slow growing plant, at least for me. We love you. Next to that Hoya australis albomarginata is this beautiful Pilea silver cloud, which was a plant that I unboxed from my first ever YouTube video from Steve's Leaves. That plant got really leggy. I didn't have it in a bright enough spot. All I did was cut the stems off, stick them in leca, and put them in this cashpo, and they have grown a ton of roots and are thriving here in hydroculture, so I am going to keep that one in that same environment. Moving to the back here, you have the Philodendron atobatopoense, the one that I cut off of the mother plant from the other shelf. This one was just the growth tip that I cut off. It had some nodes, but it didn't have roots, and I stuck it in leca, and they have grown so many roots. This one has grown incredibly well. This is the newest leaf coming off of that atobatopoense, and then it has another leaf just unfurling right here. It's a fast-growing philodendron, so if you have the chance to get your hands on one of these, I would say grab it. And then the last plant on this shelf is my beautiful Hoya SP Affinity Burtonnae. This one has been blooming like crazy. You can see a bloom right there, and then there's another one right there. One over here that just finished. These leaves are very velvety, very soft, very fuzzy, also attract a lot of patches fur, but lots of new growth happening. You can kind of see a new growth spot there, some new leaves developing there, so this one is definitely doing well in this northern exposure window. And now moving down to this last shelf. The first plant here is a philodendron Florida Beauty. I took this cutting off of the mother plant that I showed you earlier. This is the newest leaf that grew. I do probably need to get this a trellis because right now I kind of just have it leaning up against the shelf to provide support. And then behind the Florida Beauty here is 2 pots of Hoya curtisii that are just, you know, status quo, hanging out, chilling. There's new growth on this plant and it's pretty, also a lot of cat fur, but they don't do a lot and they're also not that fussy. I mean, I barely water them and they seem to be in decent shape. And then next to those is this beautiful crimson queen Hoya tricolor, whatever you want to call it. It's got this very beautiful white vine here that has some green. You can see this leaf has a little bit of green on it. It's putting off a bunch of trailers with this beautiful variegated leaf, so that one definitely is happy, and I also have that one in Leca as well. And then down here, that is a terrarium type situation that I ordered from Australia that I have not set up yet because the plants that are in this H. Potter terrarium Wardian case are rehabbing. So the plants that are currently sitting in here are going to live in this. That spot is open because that's where Patches likes to jump up and stare out the window, so I give her that. This one is a Macotes petiola. Macotes, I don't know how to pronounce it. And then this one back here, I forgot, so that will be on the screen. But these 2 jewel orchids have been rehabbing since they arrived. They had roots, but just not very strong roots, so I wanted to beef them up. They've just in sphagnum moss in here. And then the humidity, I have about 84 in there. I'm really excited about these. And I'm really excited to have them in their forever home, which is this beautiful biodome. And I will be doing a video on planting these jewel orchids into here. Okay, so there's one last spot in my bedroom that has some of my favorite plants chilling in it. And it's a little difficult to get to, and you'll see why. It's probably one of my favorite spots in this house. So yeah, let's go. Last planty spot in my bedroom is in my shower. Okay, we're gonna try to get this as easy as possible. These plants are currently hanging out on this huge ledge above my shower. And the first plant right here is my staghorn fern that is clearly just loving life. Here, it's getting all the humidity from the shower, and when I need to water it, I can just pop it down, stick it in front of the faucet for a bit, and then hang it right back up. And then starting over here is a ZZ plant that is sandwiched between 2 Sansevieria cylindricas. Starfish Sansevieria. Those guys seem to be doing really well here in this. They do actually have quite a bit of bright light, and they can do well in low light, but obviously plants need light to thrive, so they seem very happy. They've put off a bunch of new little offshoots and babies. And then right next to them, sitting in this Leca here, is a whole bunch of philodendron micans that I kind of have trailing over onto the staghorn fern. This beautiful philodendron has been super easy to care for. It is difficult to root, but once they rooted, they just kind of took off. So this plant I absolutely love. It has these beautiful velvety leaves, and on the back side you have that burgundy color. It's such a beautiful philodendron. And then right next to the philodendron micans up here is this beautiful Thai constellation Monstera. And I don't know if you can see, but it does have a new leaf coming right there, so I'm really excited to see what that one looks like. There is a leaf kind of back there that had a lot of cream color on it. The one that's coming in looks like it looks pretty white, so I'm excited about that. Next to the Thai constellation Monstera is my beautiful Alocasia Frydek. I don't know if it's the Leca or what, but this thing puts out a new leaf constantly, and they're getting so big. I don't know. My hands are pretty large, and this plant is taking over the hands, so I really love that Alocasia. I have not been a great Alocasia owner, but this one has been so incredibly easy, and it's such a beautiful Alocasia, so I definitely think give it a try if you have been scared to try Alocasia. And then next to the Frydek is my spider plant, my variegated spider plant that has put off a bunch, and I mean a bunch of babies. I love seeing it fill up and fill out and seeing all of these trails come down with the babies on the end, so I'll probably propagate some of those to gift. I kind of love seeing them all dangling there. And then the last plant here is my red Madagascar ponytail palm. This was a gift given to me by my sister. I know that in Arizona, they can grow outside, so I think I might be moving that one outside here soon. But for now, it is sitting up in my shower with the rest of these beauties. I absolutely love having a bathroom and a shower with a giant window in it because I can keep plants in here. And I know that this whole space over here is not being utilized to the best of its abilities. I had plans to fill this with something from a collab that didn't actually end up happening. I need to sort out what I'm gonna do there because I feel like there's a lot of light there that I'm not utilizing, and I would love to put more plants in here to have like a very jungle shower. There you have it. That is my first ever houseplant tour of my bedroom house plants. I really love this space. I love waking up in the morning and just seeing all of the greenery and just kind of being enveloped in nature. It kind of starts my day off the right way. I love just relaxing in here. I just really love having plants in my bedroom. But I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up down below and click that subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. I would really appreciate that. I would love to have you over here on my channel, in this family, in this community, in this space. And as always, I appreciate you hanging out with me. Thanks for watching. Hey friends, guess what? I have merch. I designed these beautiful hats and I absolutely love them. I am a hat wearer myself. They have my logo on the front, the Plant Nerd logo, and on the side here, for this gray one, you can see it says Plant Nerd. The bill is green. It is a snapback hat. The embroidery on the logo is a flat white with a 3D glasses that match my glasses. As a fellow hat wearer, I understand that it's difficult to just buy a hat without seeing it in person. This style of hat is definitely the ones that I really love, that I wear a lot. And then I also have that same style in a contrast. So you have a black bill, the same logo, and also Plant Nerd embroidered on the side. And the last style of hat that I have in my shop at notdude.com is this beautiful trucker hat. It's a 7-panel trucker, black and heather gray, and you can see it has the logo embroidered there as well. Definitely a favorite of mine, and it provides nice airflow. And the last things that I have for sale right now in my shop are stickers. I have these Not Dude stickers, and I also have pins. This pin is a soft enamel pin, and this one is a hard enamel that is very polished. But I love both of these pins so much. So yeah, I tacked this on the end of the video because a lot of people don't watch the end, and that's fine with me. But if you are interested in buying any of this merch to help support me, and maybe even if you just like it, you can find them all at notdude.com. I really love these things that I designed, and I will be designing other things. But right now, these are what I have in stock, and it will be shipped from yours truly because I have these hats sitting in boxes in my office. And if you've made it this far, you're a real one. I appreciate you. I love you. I'll catch you next time. Bye.